Sure.
On sanctions.
Yeah.
The president of Ukraine on Saturday called on the United States and its allies to impose the toughest sanctions. And as all of these questions suggest, President Putin doesn't seem to be deterred at this point. Why not choke Russia out financially right now as a way to try to stop him?
Well, here's how our national security team looks at sanctions. It's a very good question. I think it's actually a different one than what was asked. Is we look at them for a couple of purposes. One, not that they are going to be an end on their own. Just the announcement of sanctions is not going to have the immediate impact. They're not intended to work that way. They're not intended to max out at the beginning. This is why we've always intended to have a range of sanction steps that we could plus up to or escalate to if his behavior and his actions continue to be escalatory. And also, if we do all the sanctions now, what is the deterrent effect or impact of preventing him to take further action? That is what the conversation we've been in with the global community, and that is how we've been approaching it to date.
Senator Lindsey Graham says President Biden is missing the moment. Does he run the risk of being too cautious here with this tranche approach?
In what capacity is he missing the moment? Did Senator Graham say?
I'll read you the entire
Okay, go ahead.
This is a critical moment in history. President Biden is not seizing the moment. The sanctions outlined are woefully
Did he say that
inadequate.
before or after we announced the sanctions?
He's been saying this consistently.
Well, look, I think it's an important question because what the president announced was the sanctioning of two enormous financial institutions that is essentially going to make it more difficult for people close to President Putin and in the Russian elite to do business. And this is just the beginning.
When do you think they'll start to feel the impact? When will they feel the bite?
Well, they're going to be implemented immediately. So obviously it takes some time, but our effort and our focus is on implementing them immediately.
And going back to President Biden's statement that he wants to mitigate the impact on Americans, can you tell Americans how much pain will they feel with this first tranche?
Well, I think what we're looking at here, Kristen, is of course the impact on natural gas producers primarily is in Europe, and we're working to help them too, but also on the oil markets. And obviously there are many additional steps that President Putin could take, and what we're seeing is that he has every intention of taking, so I can't give you a projection of that. Some of it depends on what the actions are.
I think Americans will feel the impact in the coming weeks of these rounds.
Again, it really depends on what the steps are. What was announced today was significant sanctions on Russian elite and on financial institutions there. The people who will be largely impacted are in Russia on those.
If I could just try one more. SWIFT, not in this initial rollout.
Not in the initial tranche, but remains on the table.
Will it be in the next rollout if there needs to be another rollout?
I can't give you a prediction of that, but again, we have a range of options that remain on the table. That would have a significant and devastating impact on the Russian economy. We've already seen in the Russian economy the impact on inflation there and on the markets there of the expectation of these sanctions. But all of those options remain on the table, and I can't make a prediction of what's next. Go ahead.